The following program is a production of WXEL Television.
Hi, I'm Deborah Tornabin, and you're watching South Florida Profile. This show spotlights local people and places of interest. Some you may know, some you may not know, but all I hope you want to know even better after the show. Today, the spotlight is on autism, a spectrum disorder that affects 1 in 110 children in America. Some studies say that that number is even higher. Later in the show, I'll introduce you to Haley Moss, a local high school student who talks to me about her challenges and triumphs in dealing with high-functioning autism. Take you to my interview with Haley Moss, a wonderful young woman who talks to me about her struggles with high-functioning autism. Haley, thank you so much for joining us today. I know you're so busy in school and you're doing so many things that to take the time out to be with us is so special, so thank you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Of course, we're honored. I know you were diagnosed with autism when you were 3 years old. When did you know that you had special needs?
I knew that I was in the autism spectrum when I was 9 years old because my mom told me during the summer. It was a lazy day. We were just hanging around in bed and stuff, and I was really into Harry Potter when I was 9. So she comes up to me one day, she goes, "You have magical powers, just like Harry Potter." I'm 9 years old. I don't know any better. I actually believe it. I'm like, okay, go ahead.
Right.
Start talking.
Right.
And she ended up telling me about autism in a positive light and all the good things about it. Like I have a good memory, I'm good in school, I'm good at computers, things like that. And autism really growing up for me has been a positive experience. Rather than highlighting the negatives, we stress the positives.
Right. Before your mother told you, did you feel that you were special inside you? Did you feel like something was different?
Growing up, I used to think, before I had like a label to put to it, so to speak, I used to think everyone else was weird and I was the cool one.
Right. Well, you're probably right.
That's what I thought. It was like...
But like children coming over to the house and playing with you, was that difficult for you?
Yes, very. What we'd do is we'd have like a schedule, like structured activities when kids would come over. So Mom would be like, okay, this is snack time, now we're going to play a game, now we're going to do this, then I'll take you home in another hour, and it would be very organized.
Very structured.
Very.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as far as your academics, you did well in school, right?
Yes, I've always done well, and I'm a straight A student at Pinecrest now.
Wow, that's a major accomplishment. So your autistic disorder really did not affect you with your learning capacity or with your schooling. It was more of a social disorder.
Yeah, a lot more social, because
Okay.
I could remember things in school really easily, and sometimes with school I need to see things visually to make it make more sense, or I'll
Right.
just remember what everyone says and try to figure it out from there.
And what do you think that, makes you feel socially different from the children? How do you describe that feeling? Like, when do you know you feel out of sorts, so to speak?
When I have no idea what to say to people, because people will talk about things that I'm not interested in, don't know anything about, or they're just a lot more talkative than me and I don't know what to do, because if I don't say anything, then I'll be like, why are you here? It's like talking to a wall.
Right.
And it's just like strange.
Do you feel like you need to be like kind of an expert on things before you talk about them to
Yes.
people? So you don't like kind of put the input in unless you know exactly what to say?
Unless I know about what we're talking about, I have to at least think about it. Like,
Right. And were you afraid of like making mistakes in class? If you had to answer something, if you weren't quite sure if it was
Yes.
right, would you not take the chance of answering
yes,
it?
and I'm still sort of like that.
Yeah, because you don't want to be, is it because you don't want to be made fun of, or is it because you just don't want people to think you don't know?
I'm a perfectionist, and the kids are kind of cruel about things like that, and sometimes they do laugh out loud when you get the wrong answer.
Right.
Or they think you're really stupid, and I'm not really into that.
Right, right. Would you say you're competitive?
No.
No. So what you do is your own thing. You don't really want to compete with what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
Well, in today's world, I think that's a really good thing, to be an individual as a young person. I mean, that's very special. And I think that that part of your social disorder has actually helped you to grow into such a wonderful, beautiful young woman. And, you surprised me so much when I've talked to you off camera of all the work that you've done. I'd like to share a little bit of that with our audience as well. You started to paint when you were how old?
I started painting when I was about 12, and with the computer mainly. But I've been painting for a really long time, but I really got into computer work, and then I went back to painting. So,
And would you say that painting is like therapy for you?
It's relaxing. It gets rid of stress for me. I don't have to think about anything else. And it's just really relaxing, so.
And when did you start, like, did you pick up a paintbrush or did you start doodling? Like, how did you know that you really had a talent for art?
I never thought about it as more as having a talent. It was more something that I enjoyed doing as a hobby. I never thought I was that good. Because there was always kids in art class that could shade and draw portraits, and I was like, that's not me. So I never really thought of myself as talented growing up like that.
And now, do you feel like you're talented?
I feel like I'm special
Yeah.
and different. I don't think I'm I don't think any of that stuff. I think that I'm unique. And my work is unique to me and it's special to me.
And you were saying that each of your paintings tell a story and they each have a title. First, I want to talk to you a little bit about the character because I kind of see her throughout your artwork. And I just want to know, is that supposed to be you? Is that you or?
None of them are actually of me except for there's one that is called Little Me, and that's supposed to be me when I was a little kid in my bedroom with my teddy bear.
Well, I think you definitely have a signature with your artwork. I mean, it's definitely recognizable. Tell me a little bit about some of the paintings. First, what is your favorite painting?
My favorite of the paintings is actually Spring is Sprung.
Why is that?
Because I really like how everything just flows together, and it's a very happy picture with rainbows and flowers and things like that. And I always like springtime because that's when everything comes back, like all the flowers start coming, and it's just a really pretty time of year.
And which piece would you say has really the most meaning to you as far as dealing with your autism? Is there one piece that really reflects that struggle or that frustration that you have?
Yes, it's called Use Your Words, because growing up, I never wanted to ask for things. I was always scared. What if I didn't get what I wanted? What if I'm not sure how to say, this is what I want, and I don't want to say it without sounding like a little bratty kid?
Do you feel that I know they say there's no cure for autism. Do you feel like you've gotten better with it because you understand what it is that you actually have? And you've been able to kind of watch the triggers that are in your environment and kind of set yourself up to be prepared for things. Do you think that has really helped you to deal with autism?
I think so, because what we do as a family is we prepare for everything in advance, like what kind of situations. If a situation comes up, how we're going to handle it. And basically, everything is front-loaded because, put simply, I don't really have common sense. Because things that may be common sense for you are not common sense for me.
Okay. Give me an example of that.
Like to just talk to someone about like whatever, like how are you today? Things like that.
Small talk.
Especially small talk. Like things have to be taught to someone with autism. It's not just taken for granted.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good for people to know because I wouldn't think that someone would understand that. Maybe they would just think you're shy. That it's not something that is actually a problem for you, but that you just, or maybe you're just not interested. You don't want to be bothered. But that's something you really struggle with.
Yeah.
You did a whole book on middle school, really, which is probably the toughest time for young people to go through middle school. Middle school, the stuff nobody tells you about. Well, I am so proud of you because this book is a great tool for young people to really organize themselves, to understand different stimuli that may, bother them as an autistic child or young adult. This is a spectrum disorder, and there are a lot of children who, maybe all the way at the other end of the spectrum, and that you're high functioning. So for some people, this book may not apply, but certainly there's so many young women, like you said, who will benefit so much from this book. So I want to thank you for that. Let's take a look at some of the pieces of your artwork as well, okay? Okay, Haley, tell us about this wonderful painting. What is this called?
This one is called Peace and Love. The character herself is actually featured on the cover of my book, Middle School, The Stuff Nobody Tells You About. And she's just a generally happy girl who's very into life and things that are pretty, things like that.
There's a little 60s inspiration there with the peace sign and the happy face. I love that. Really love that. This one I love because I have a boy and a girl, and when they were little, they were about this age together. So tell me a little bit about this little boy and girl that's depicted in this picture.
This one was done for the South Florida Parenting cover for their Kids Crown Awards that they have every year. And you get a prince and a princess with the big gold crowns, of course.
What is this one called?
It's actually called On Time.
On Time, good. And what was the inspiration behind this?
I have a teacher who is very punctual, and I've had her since freshman year, actually.
Right.
And she's very on time, and she's very into that and stuff, so.
She has her act together, it seems.
Yeah, I was late to her class once, and that kind of freaked me out.
Oh, no. Okay.
And then I knew I always had to be on time.
this is a reminder to be on time. It's a good thing. Okay? And our next one?
Little me is actually a portrait of when I'm a little kid because I had my teddy bear in my room, and Zach's the black poodle, so Zach is in this picture too.
And you seem very safe in your room, comfortable at home, so I think that shows that there.
Yeah.
And that's one of your favorites, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for shedding some light on high-functioning autism.
It's a pleasure, and thank you guys for having me once again.
I hope you enjoyed watching South Florida Profile. If you have any suggestions for future programs, please feel free to call WXEL at 561-364-4428.